Change will come to those who have no
Hello, I am Peyton
fear.
Guthrie. To my left always is
But I
Nick
am
Kroll.
not hurt.
Today we'll be talking about nothing more than True Detective, Episode 5. I'm on my knees. I'm sorry. Nick was right. I shouldn't have doubted, I guess. I still think they took too much time, but I'll also say I was right. Season 4 was going to be what caused everything else to be better. Episode 5 was better. What's this better?
What
Nick?
was the schism? Episode 4 was. Episode 5 was the reaction, what's happened afterwards. There was a bit of time jump, so we see the characters affected. We didn't really see the progress in between, but now we see that they're all having different lives essentially now.
Yeah.
Some of them for good, some of them for worse. Vince Vaughn has delved further into, that seems to just be his story's projection, is him going further into his roots, into the underworld. Taylor's character, Paul, is further putting on a mask, and you can see that he's having to use alcohol and other things to kind of keep a mask about himself, and it's slowly everything else around him is still caving in. And then Annie and Ray are struggling with life after being detectives, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't really blame Taylor's character that much. I mean, it is the in-laws.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have in-laws, so I don't really know. But I would assume from everything I've seen, all these comedy shows, you need a lot of alcohol to deal with them. Speaking about his character, he's now the one who's just completely fucked. The weird mom takes all of his money, or took all of his money. He's totally using this girl to get out of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got the actress just staring at him saying, you know, I just don't want this to happen to anybody else ever again. It's like, just, if he would just say it, done. You know?
And I think, I feel like that it's bottling up, and that might be his character's conclusion, is finally have a moment where he's finally like, you know what, this is it. This is who I am. Deal with it. Because it's just been the constant struggle, and he's constantly putting up a wall, whether it's the alcoholism, whether it's the marriage with his girlfriend, now baby mama, or fiance now, I guess. But the constant wall building, he's putting on a mask, and even for every mask he puts on, there's just another problem that gets added to it. Yeah.
And we find out more, because now that we say it, now that when he says certain things, you can use his character to kind of fill the gaps. When he's in the lawyers' meeting, he says, I wasn't there. I wasn't in that village. I wasn't killing those people. We know why. He was with his friend that he woke up, drunk one night from. That's where he was. That's where he was. He wasn't there. He wasn't killing anybody. He was sleeping with his beloved man. So, again, if he were to say it, a lot of his issues would be fixed. Now, just jumping straight into where am I going with this? Annie, yes, just straight, just deep and girthy into Annie.
I thought the scene where she was at the counseling was funny. It just kind of showed having a female detective and the workspace she's just used to, and how she's really just used to playing with all these guys, and how it plays with the cliche of a cop, definitely, but it was a funny moment just because every time you're in a scene with a counselor and the guy's like, tell us how that felt for you, and she just kind of treats it the way we all would, it's just kind of like, I don't want to be here, this is stupid, just let me go. But I feel like she's the only one that has actually stayed in the force, per se, and she's slowly earning her way back up into detective status, and so I think that she obviously is the one that helped get everything rolling once again by kind of putting two and two together with the missing girl. And that's kind of also been the Kickstarter for her finding that, and then finding the photos with her, the girl, and the jewels, then kickstarted all the other things that have brought together the special unit task force and all the other domino effects that came after.
Yeah, and she's obviously in an awkward position. I remember watching that scene just recently in the sexual harassment or sexual abuse class therapy thing. And you basically feel anytime you see something online, like I think it was like the Bengals cheerleader not too long ago. She was also like a high school teacher, and she's having sex with a 15-year-old, and everyone's like, dude, that's a lucky 15-year-old. Hell yeah. But really that's, sexual abuse, sexual harassment. It's it's bad, even if it is from a super hot girl. I mean, if it's just not
It's the role reversal, and that, and it was just highlighting that moment for the movie film itself. movie, film, show.
TV show. Who knows? I mean, it could be anything if you really think about
If
it.
you really do.
Yeah, you can do anything you want to do, Nick.
Thank God.
Hopefully, get off the show. Yeah, her character again is the one who drives in, starts driving into things. She was the one who was always trying to put all the pieces together. They all knew they weren't going to be able to solve it, and you can even tell when she's with the Mexican dude. She's looking at the papers like, this doesn't make sense. She's the one who's really pushing it along, trying to. Another two are like, let's just get this over with, so I can get back on the bike. One, so I can stop having to do this. And so it makes sense for her character to be the one to find the sister again and start putting the pieces all together.
She really is the driving force of all the detective work per se. And then the character studies of all the other characters kind of are what work around her and her driving force. You know, with Vince Vaughn, what we find out more about him as he's doing his own detective work. The politician, I believe he was visiting, literally called him a detective.
Yeah.
And now we found out that everyone wants their hands on the hard drive that was in the house that Ray got shot at. And so now that's kind of the MacGuffin, if you will, of the rest of the series.
So yeah, it makes an interesting part like that. If the hard drive is gone, they all know it's probably these industries and stuff, which they all know who these people are. So that part's kind of like disconnecting for me slightly, because if they're all spending, if the politician and stuff, that they've all been spending money with these people and they know what was going on. I guess you can always say they didn't know enough of what was going on. There's like one extra step. So it does kind of seem like a MacGuffin type of thing. Like, here's the next magical thing you have to find.
Is because they had the girls, the human trafficking, and then they captured all these high-profile people on video, and so now it's like
Casper.
So now it's like we have to find this and destroy it. Whereas the detectives find it, or Vince Vaughn finds it, they can use it to either put everything in the open, or for Vince Vaughn, it's get everything he needs back.
Yeah, now it's a race, because now we've already seen the conflict now. Now, if Vince finds it, he's back in the saddle.
Right.
If the detectives find it, the state comes crumbling down. So there's an interesting who's going to find it. Now it's a race.
Right.
And two of your characters are on the same team somewhat. I mean, Vince is taking care of Ray.
Yeah.
Frank's taking care of Ray. Even though I guess we find out Frank really hasn't taken care of
of
Ray at all.
He's all about himself.
So we can go ahead and just jump into that part there. I was talking to someone about it, and they were thinking that meant that Ray never killed anybody. That Frank told him, like maybe Ray couldn't do it, and that he had Frank do it. And so that's why he's in his debt.
Frank couldn't do it, so he had Ray do it.
No, for the rapist.
Yeah.
They're saying Ray got the information from Frank. Couldn't himself do it because he's a decent man. Goes back, has one of Frank's guys kills him, and now he's stuck under him.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
That's what they're thinking. I'm thinking Frank just played Ray like a fool and said, "Here's the guy who did it," and really it's, "Here's the guy I don't want alive anymore."
Bam.
And then bam. So that's why I think it could be either way, because obviously he's shook.
Because they left it
Shook.
They left it gray. They didn't let him say, "No, I killed that guy."
Yeah.
He didn't say that to his wife. They left it very, because he was confused, and as she was going on and on about during their conversation. So there's definitely room for that theory to definitely play out.
Yeah, because I personally think Ray killed the guy. Now it seems like he didn't kill the guy who raped her.
Yeah.
He killed the guy Frank wanted dead.
And that's what upsets him. Either way, especially if he killed some guy and it was for nothing, he was actually just being used as a pawn. Because we've seen his violent nature in the first episode and also in this episode when he's dealing with the doctor, getting information out of him.
Which is fantastic.
That's
the part we want back. I want the ski mask. I want that's the action. The more action there is, the better off it goes. And I think that's just how it is.
Right.
So now with 3 more episodes left of True Detective Season 2, it seems like we have a lot of action. I know Nick has never wavered in his interest in the show. I, last week, foolishly flagged in my interest. I lost interest for a second, but...
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
It's a slow burning
It's a slow burn.
season. And like I kind of said I think last week, I was talking about how it's very much like a novel. The guy himself, like you said, is a writer of books, not so much screenplays, and so he kind of plays it out like, and as we are all used to binge watching now, so we're used to, or we're being trained to be used to all of this is cohesive together, you know. With True Detective, we still have the weekly thing where we wait and we figure out what happens next. But now with House of Cards and things, we're trying to just, all right, let's keep going, let's put it all together at one time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of weekly wait, this has been our recap. You can catch us next week as we talk about True Detective episode 6, or you can binge watch the playlist, which will be here. I figured out how to annotate. Until then, that's Nick.
The only thing worth fighting for.